Welcome to Michael Potts F1, everything Formula One, but from a photographer's point of view. Are you wondering which Formula One race to attend next year? In this video, I'm going to discuss why going to the British home of motorsport at Silverstone is an absolute must for every Formula One fan.
I'll be looking at the history as well as some advice on where to stay, which tickets to get, and along the way I'll show you some of my favourite photographs from past races. Silverstone is one of the great motorsport venues. It has the glamour, the prestige, the history, incredible fans. It always delivers dramatic racing with changeable conditions. The track is super fast and extremely complex for the drivers, and for most of the teams, in some way, this is a home race. This includes Alpine, Haas, McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, Williams, soon to be AlphaTauri, or whatever they're going to call it next year, and of course Aston Martin, who are, I think, the closest team to the track. Despite it being a brilliant race for fans, it is one of the hardest races to photograph in the entire season. It's flat. We kept a long way away from the cars due to safety reasons. When it's hot, there's a constant heat haze which plays havoc for photography, and when it's not hot, it's often wet. Despite those challenges, it is still one of my highlights of the season. The first ever British Grand Prix was held in 1929 in Brooklyn, Surrey. It had 13 contestants, 4 of which failed to start, 6 retired, and only 3 cars completed the race. The first British Grand Prix held at Silverstone was in 1948. However, there was an ad hoc race the previous year. Maurice Gagan, a local resident racing driver, got 11 of his mates together to have a race around this deserted airfield on a 2-mile circuit. Sadly, Gagan hit a stray sheep during the race, and from then on it was referred to as the Mutton Grand Prix. That means that the first race was started by trespassers. The 1948 race was won by Luigi Villarossi driving a Maserati. In 1950, it hosted the very first race of the newly formed Drivers' World Championship. So this was the OG of Formula One as we know it today. The track looked a bit different from the Silverstone we recognise now, but already some of the iconic corners were there: Stowe, Woodcut, Abbey and Club. The Hangar Straight and the Wellington Straight are references to the circuit's previous life as an airfield. That airfield was built in 1943 as a base to train crews to fly the Vickers Wellington bombers in World War II. The circuit's history can be mapped through the corner names. Here we find that there were 2 churches. Abbey, the name of Turn 1, was the ancient Luffield Abbey, built before 1133. It was deconsecrated by King Henry VIII in 1493. Then, turns 13 and 14, there was another chapel dedicated to Thomas à Becket, the murdered Archbishop of Canterbury. This was destroyed in 1943 to build the airstrip. There are 4 corners that have names attributed to the Royal Automobile Club. These are Aimtree in Turn 5, Brooklands Turn 6, Woodcut in Turn 8, and Club in Turn 18. Can you guess what each of these refer to? Turn 2 is called Farm, which is named after the local farm. Village, the name of Turn 3, is reference to the Silverstone village. It has a population of about 2,000 residents. On race weekend, that can be as many as 120,000 residents, with so many people camping. Copse in Turn 9 is named after a glade of trees. Maggots, which is Turn 10, is named after Maggots Moor, which runs near the track. And Stowe, Turn 15, is named after a local school. Turn 16, which is Vale, refers to a virtually non-detectable vale between Stowe and Club. But I guess on a flat track, everything is relative. As of 2020, we now have the Hamilton Straight, which honours the 7-time winner of the British Grand Prix. His Silverstone record is incredible. He has raced in Formula One 17 times in Silverstone, and he's only not been on the podium on 4 occasions. The last time he failed to make it into the top 3 was 2013. That's 10 years ago. His love affair with the race and the fans started way back, from his victorious GP2 year, 2006, where he won the feature race from starting second on the grid. And then for the sprint race, he started in 8th place and possibly won one of his best races of all times. Driving against people in identical machinery, he pulled off an audacious overtake of 2 cars going into the high-speed corner Maggots. The race is always spectacular. There's a lot of overtakes, drivers are on the limit, there's usually a safety car or rain to spice things up. So it's very difficult to try and pick highlights, but here it goes. In 1987, Nigel Mansell was 30 seconds away from the lead. With only 30 laps remaining, he went on a charge. He broke the lap record 9 times to catch and pass teammate Nelson Piquet into Stowe, sending the home fans into raptures. In 2008, Lewis Hamilton won his first British Grand Prix. It was in appalling conditions. With torrential rain, he lapped the entire field up to 3rd place, producing one of the most dominant race wins in difficult conditions. 2020 was a fairly boring race until the last lap where Hamilton had a blowout. He had to hobble home on 3 wheels, watching a flying Max Verstappen devour his 30-second lead. Hamilton eventually won by just 5 seconds. In 2021, with the championship finally balanced between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton, the two collided on the opening lap, Hamilton sending the Dutchman into the barriers and out of the race. Hamilton was hit with a 10-second penalty for causing an accident, but managed to retake the lead on the very last lap. 2022 was another classic, not just for the massive first lap crash, but rather for Ferrari's random tactics which gave Carlos Sainz a maiden Grand Prix victory at Charles Leclerc's expense. The last few laps were some of the most exhilarating you'll see in motorsport, with Hamilton, Perez, Leclerc all fighting desperately for second place. Most of it illegally, with cars going off the track here, there and everywhere. When it comes to tickets, there are a full range of options, from very good quality general admission areas right up to the highest level of glamour and the most exclusive hospitality areas. There are lots of different levels in each option, more so than in most other races, so do spend a bit of time making sure you have the right package for you. There are daily and weekend packages, and many of the grandstand tickets will allow you access to different grandstands to the one that you've purchased on Fridays and Saturdays. This is brilliant, and it's well worth making the most of it, because you get to see cars in different parts of the track. Based on 2023 prices, a general admission ticket is around about £230. The grandstands range from £300 to £600. And hospitality is starting from £1,250. If you are looking to purchase a ticket for the 2024 race, mark the 15th of September in your calendar, as this is the date they usually go on sale. This video has gone out on the 14th of September, so it's literally tomorrow. Act quickly because they do tend to sell out quite fast. It is one of the most expensive race weekends. When you look at the average of a 3-day pass, it is the 6th most expensive behind Las Vegas, Miami, Mexico, Monaco and Austin. In terms of grandstands, Club is one of the best options. There's always a lot of drama at the final part of the lap. Aim for section 2 as this has good views of the podium. Abbey is a great corner to view the start of the race from. For watching cars on the limit, then you need to head over to Maggots and Beckett's. This is where you can see cars right on their edge. The speed through this complex is incredible. If you're looking for atmosphere, then head over to the Loop. This mini stadium section is brilliant. There are lots of very good general admission spots, but you do need to get to the track very early to claim your perch. If you're looking for something a little bit different, the Octane Terrace could be right up your street. It's located on the inner track along the Hangar Straight. This tented terrace offers great views of the track, good views, complimentary drinks, DJs, and a host of other benefits. Silverstone isn't just motor racing. There's massive opening parties on Thursday night. In 2023, it featured Calvin Harris and a host of other famous British acts. The Mahiki nightclub had special party nights, and there were loads of amazing celebrities such as the Black Eyed Peas and hosts of others performing. So for this event, you're getting a lot more. Dotted around the track, there's some brilliant food trucks. There's an awful lot to see and do. There's the Silverstone Museum. Accommodation can be a bit tricky. One of the most popular options is camping, as you're often in walking distance from the track. They offer glamping in pre-erected yurts. This also includes breakfast, yoga, live music, and costs about £2,400 for 2 people. A standard tent pitch costs between £108 and £420, depending on the size and the access to electricity. There are a number of hotels and bed and breakfasts in the area, not enough for all the people who are coming, so do make sure you book early. The nearest hotel to the track is the Hilton Garden Inn, Silverstone, which is located directly on the Hamilton Strait. Please let me know if you can find a room rate for this hotel over Grand Prix weekend. I haven't been able to find it. I imagine it's eye-wateringly expensive. This year, I stayed in an Airbnb in Milton Keynes, and it's a fairly short ride from there to the track. In terms of getting to the track, you can drive, but parking and traffic are issues. There are park and ride options which are cheaper, and you can pre-book these. There are buses from several train stations, such as Milton Keynes, and Megabus offered services direct from a number of towns in the UK. Photographically speaking, you'll definitely need a long lens, so something that's at least in the 600 range. I wouldn't bother with anything too wide because you're very far away from the track, so unless you're using that for atmospheric crowd shots, I would probably stick to 24-70 being the widest lens I would take. Do remember to take a poncho and sunscreen because you'll need both of them pretty much every day. And do make sure you pack a good pair of walking shoes because you'll be doing an awful lot of walking, preferably waterproof walking shoes.
Thank you so much for watching this A to Z guide to the British Grand Prix. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. I hope to see you at the race next year. So until Silverstone, goodbye.